All right, so now let's take a look at applying a trench to our water line that we're going to put in. So we're going to start using the trench template manager, and we could use this sanitary PVC trench that we already defined in our model, but I want to show you how to create one from scratch, so we're going to use a different one. Just because I called it sanitary sewer doesn't mean we can't use it on any run. So it might be better if we, depending on your trench type, you put in PVC trench or ductile iron trench or water line trench, depending on what your trench properties call for. Right? So I'm just going to create a new one. We could copy this one, but I'm just going to click on new. We'll go ahead and rename it, and we'll call it, I'm going to call it DIP, we'll just call it DIP trench pipeline. Let's call it DIP trench. Good enough. Okay. Now the first thing we want to do is pick a site improvement. Doesn't matter which one you use, it's just for orientation and reference. So I'm going to pick this 8-inch ductile iron pipe because that is what we're using here. Now I can define the basic. We'll start with the basic tab first. Now if we take a look at our plans, you can see that we have a trench that calls for outside diameter plus 16. That's a minimum of what our trench needs to be. We're going to have a 6-inch granular base backfill, and then we're just going to have earth fill for the rest of this material, but we're going to have 12 inches above the pipe. So we'll come over here, and we're going to start with the width. So the width we're going to use is diameter multipliers. Now we're going to pick outside because we're going to use outside diameter, and we're going to add in a diameter multiplier. So it's 1.15 in this case, 1.15, and that's basically going to give us a 2.3 foot trench. Now I know this 2.3 is what we want. It's not, you got to keep in mind this is feet, not inches. We have an 11-inch outside diameter of our pipe, and again we're basing this off the bell casing, and we need 16 inches additional. So that's 27 inches. So if we use our calculator and we take 27 divided by 12, it's actually 2.25. Rounded up is 2.3. So we know that that's going to be the proper trench width. Now you can set a minimum width here, as well as a bottom offset. So we know that we're going to need a bottom offset of 6 inches. Okay. And then down below here, we're going to need it asks us for a preview height. So this is just for graphical display. So I'm going to put a preview height of 4. All right. So that's 4 feet. So it kind of shows you the trench. We can then come down here, and if we want to, we can set it up so that at the nodes we have an additional offset. So we could offset it widthwise an additional value, as well as at the bottom an additional value. So if we have to put and dig out some additional material below at the node, we can assign that here. We're not going to, we're just going to leave it the way it is. Alright, so basically we're just assigning the outside diameter multiplier to the left and to the right, and that is basically our trench. Now on the backfill, we're going to add in some materials. So I'm going to add first. It's going to ask me for the name, so I'm just going to call this the granular backfill. And the thickness type, it's going to be a fixed thickness of 6 inches, so we'll go 0.5 because it's in feet. And the material above, again from our material site improvement manager, is this gravel bedding number 67, which is required per our plans, and we set that up in the material site improvement manager. So I'm going to click save, and that adds in that particular material. So next I can add in the next layer, which is going to be 12 inches above the top of the pipe. So I'm going to add another piece, and we're just going to call this earth backfill pipe. So basically we're putting that information in, and that's going to be relative to height or relative thickness to outside. So we can choose any of these. So if I say relative height, my reference point is the top of the utility line, and the change or delta is going to be 1 foot. And the material can be, let's say it's on-site, soil. So we'll click and save that. So that puts in that material. All right, so we've got our pipe plus our additional foot. So we'll add in one more material, and this is going to be our earth fill in 6-inch layers. I'll just give it a name. The thickness is basically going to be, we're just going to fill the rest of it and hit save. All right, so that comes in. The rest of the fill is just our native material, and it's going to fill that up. So that's going to be our options, or our pipe, or our trench and our layers of material. Next, we'll go to our side slopes, define those. You'll see you have a left and a right. We know we're only digging a 4-inch or 4-foot trench, so we're just going to add in the name of this. So I'm just going to call this instruction property, so we'll just call this trench wall. It's not going to be conditional. We're just going to use a side slope type. We're going to go up, and the up is going to be to the subgrade of our corridor in this case. And the preview height just shows us what it's going to look like. So I'll go ahead and save that, and then I can mirror it to the other side. So I basically don't have to create the other one, but I've got a left and a right. Okay, so you can see both left and right. We'll ignore the depth zone for now, and I'm just going to go ahead and save, and now we've got a DIP trench. So the next step will be then to insert the trench template and create the trench surface.